On this heartfelt episode, Casey and Mike learn a valuable lesson.
Don't even bother trying to get WWDC tickets.
And
Next year's best iPhone accessory will be a car.
all that and more on this special edition of the Infinite Loop Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Infinite Loop Show. This is episode number 56. I am Michael Gaines.
And I'm Casey Coughlin.
Hi, Casey.
Hi, Mike.
So we didn't do a show last week because you ran this massive marathon. Why don't you tell everybody what you were up to?
I literally ran away.
You literally ran away in the sun.
I did. So I ran the SoCal Ragnar Relay, which I ran last year. Oh, and there go my webcam settings.
Yeah, I was going to say your cam setting.
So they have Ragnar relays all over the country, and the SoCal one is the one here in Southern California. It's 200 miles from Huntington Beach, California, all the way down to the convention center in downtown San Diego. You run for 2 days straight. Well, I mean, it's about 36 hours straight. You're part of a 12-man team split into two groups of six. So each runner has 3 legs, which can be anywhere from 2 to 10 miles apiece. And you run your leg, slap the bracelet on the next guy, and then they go. Everybody gets in the van, and they drive to the next exchange, and you do that all the way down.
Damn. That's like from here to Washington, D.C. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Like, everybody's so supportive, and everybody that's in it, they're just cheering. And when you're driving to the next exchange and you're driving alongside runners on the street, and everybody's just hanging out of the windows of their van screaming and cheering you on, and you come in and everybody high fives and hugs and everything. It's like a 2-day party. By the end of it, everyone's so delirious from being, sleep deprived and just hungry and tired and just so worn out. And then at the finish line, there's a huge party with beer and everything. And it's crazy and great. And I love it.
Well, this is what, your third year doing this?
Second year.
Second year? All right. So I looked this up. There are Ragnar races all over the place. There are none in my immediate area, but if it's like 200 miles, there's not a lot of room to do that in a lot of places. But yeah, that sounds interesting. How did you train for this?
Yeah, so last year, my first year, I just did it on a whim and didn't train or anything and wasn't running prior.
Yeah.
This year, I had been running since Ragnar last year. I had been running regularly all year, training with other people who are better runners than I, running up, because you could tell in my times and the way I handled myself and everything, it just helps so much more knowing how to run, knowing how to take hills, knowing how to pace yourself and, kind of just get through it, really. So training definitely helped, especially with hills. I had got a lot of compliments from people that saw me after because I was wearing this orange tutu. People would point, after and say, "Hey, I saw you charging up that hill," or when I was killing people up the hill, and they're like, "Ah, God, I can't take hills," or what have you. Especially in San Diego, there are a lot of hills on the road, so that really helps, training with that, and yeah.
Nice.
Fun.
Nice. All right, let's get to the news because there's a lot of it. iTunes turns 10.
Now, I heard this, and I swear we had this anniversary like last year, or I feel like this anniversary had already come. Is it the iTunes Store, or is it iTunes in
Store?
general?
That's what I meant to say. The iTunes Store turns 10. Now, iTunes itself is a lot older than 10.
Yeah, because the store came out, 2 or 3 years after, or no, more than that, after iTunes itself came out.
Yeah, something like that. iTunes was SoundJam at one point, and then it became iTunes.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that? Why not? I still have my
Well,
Sound Jam
for the
CD.
same reason we don't talk about the Motorola Rocker.
Oh, no, Sound Jam for its time was pretty damn good. So I liked it. Anyway, the store turns 10, and in 10 years, I mean, wow, look how much money that Apple has been making. And people said that Apple was stupid for getting into this market. It would never survive, and they wound up changing the entire market. Are you surprised? Because I sure as hell am not.
It is the place to buy music. You know, like 10 years ago, if you were going to like Tower Records or Blockbuster Music, I mean, those are all gone. And even, I mean, a lot of people still buy music from Amazon. Really, the iTunes store now is the place to buy music. I mean, because especially even more so now as physical media is going by the wayside, but all the physical stores are gone, and a lot of the online stores where you would buy the CDs are kind of going the way, and it's just become the benchmark for everything music.
Wow. All right. Your video jittered a little bit.
But
okay. I'll fix it in post. It's funny you should bring up Tower Records. I was at the Sony event like 2 summers ago. I go to this building, and I just never... I didn't know what the address of Tower Records was. I go into this building, and it's a sports bar. I'm like, this place looks familiar. There's like something familiar about this place. It's like Luke on Dagobah. And then somebody tells me, oh, yeah, this used to be the old Tower Records. Like, oh, used to spend like every other weekend just rummaging through Tower Records in Manhattan. But yeah, I mean, now iTunes is like the place to go. The only reason why I've ever bought stuff on Amazon store is because sometimes they have things, very rarely, but they have things that the iTunes store doesn't. For example, I recently bought, I don't know how many albums. It was like 15 or 20 Beethoven albums for $1 or something, because I listen to classical once in a while. Not very often, but I couldn't turn down all that stuff for $1. You don't really see that on iTunes very often. Then there were some other things that I've bought on Amazon store. But the thing is, the one thing that Amazon does have an advantage in is that if you buy a physical CD, or now if you buy a vinyl album, you'll get the digital download for free. So
it's almost, it's
nice.
kind of like what who is it, the New York Times or somebody was doing that with their newspapers to try and almost kind of, it feels like legitimize the old media with the new.
Oh.
Like if you buy this subscription to our website, we'll give you the paper for free. And it's like, you don't get it. I don't want the paper. I just want the digital version. Well,
that's different though, because you just read it and then toss it. Whereas with music, when you get if you get the CD, you got to rip it.
Well, you listen to it and then you toss it onto the shelf where it stays forever.
But if you buy, I'm not going to get into vinyl, or else you start yelling at me about belt clips and such.
Yeah.
Apple's earnings call was the other day. And
it was.
In typical street fashion, Apple says we made more money than anybody will ever see in their entire life, and Wall Street just says not good enough. No. Like, what is it with Apple is like the company that they've always wanted, and yet they still crap on Apple.
No, it feels like like there's just this, I don't know, this disdain or this need to crap on Apple, or it's like Apple is this spoiled child that the parents just feel like, I need to teach you a lesson because you don't get it.
And in the meantime, the spoiled child is getting straight A's and like black belts in karate.
I am just gonna, nothing is good enough because I'm gonna set you straight and you'll thank me later. But for right now, like it just, I don't get it. Like there's this mission, like Wall Street is out to just, like set Apple's humbleness, I don't know, down 10 notches.
Yeah, I know. What? No innovative products in the last, few months? Well, we're just gonna.
Well, you are just a piece of crap, and we're going to go, hang out with Samsung, which can't even touch your greatness.
The funny thing is that the street says that they talk about how awesome Amazon did. Amazon lost a bunch of money. Apple makes more in one day than Amazon makes in an entire quarter, and yet the street just doesn't think that Apple is good enough. I mean, in relative terms, I guess they expected Apple to do better on their own terms. Okay, I can understand that a little bit, but at the same time, they're making so much money, and if anybody really thinks that Apple doesn't have anything up their sleeve, then they're a fool, because we know that they do. And we have seen Apple dry spell. How many times have you and I seen Apple dry spells before in the last 10 or so years, where they come out with something awesome and then it dips a little bit, and then they come out with something awesome and then it dips a little longer, and then they come out with something awesome and then they stay and they ride that high for a little while. Yeah. It's not easy innovating like Apple does. And people say, well, Apple hasn't innovated anything in a long time. Like, well, I would argue that. You wouldn't be having your lovely smartphones if it wasn't for Apple. Take a look at what Android was going to be.
Yeah. Somebody, where did I hear this? I forget where I heard it. It was probably on a podcast. That the street, I guess they consider Apple as more of a hardware company. And so I guess the expectations are a lot higher. Whereas with companies like Facebook and Amazon that can take giant dives and then come back and just have more volatile growth, they're categorized in a way, I guess, under either software or internet, but their category is taken with much more of a grain of salt than the category that Apple's in. But if they really gauged Apple as it should be, which is more of a hardware software kind of hybrid, you know, it would make sense that these, especially since they're kind of on the edge, they're out there innovating and trying to really, I mean, kind of really trying to just turn over markets and revolutionize categories. Things are going to be volatile. Things are going to go up. Things are going to go down, and because of the supply chain and everything in China, if they were really gauged on that, like Amazon or anything else, I mean, I feel like there wouldn't be such a heavy hand on them.
Yeah. $43.6 billion in revenue. $4.3 billion came from the Apple.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
$4.3 or $4.6 billion alone came from the iTunes store. Tim Cook did say that the Macs that came out towards the end of last year should have been delayed because of the production issues that they were having. I'm like, that's fine. I mean, yeah. Sometimes you just make the bad call, and that's all right. 300 million iCloud users. That's more than I thought.
As bad as iCloud is, which, I mean, it's not the worst thing ever, but it does have some serious outages from time to time. And for something that's literally driving everything, your backups, all of your synchronization, it's fairly important, and it has outages. It goes down. But still, they have 3 million. I mean, there's 3 million people putting their trust in it still. So,
is there anything that iCloud doesn't do that you wish that it did? Anything that you could see Apple maybe improving on over time?
I wish it was more of a file server like Dropbox.
Yeah, well, it used to be.
Like, right, exactly. It was .Mac, right? You could just throw raw files on there and then retrieve them like a file server. Yeah. But now it's like this behind the scenes kind of obscured backup drive where you can retrieve stuff from your backups, but you kind of just can't like open it up as a window and grab individual files out of like a Dropbox. I would love to get rid of Dropbox and just have like an old school .Mac or something on my phone.
I don't know if I would get rid of Dropbox because there are just too many people that use it. Not enough of those people would use iCloud. But
if it was a exact duplicate with everything, you know, as a file server, and I could share or invite people to just a single folder. If it did the same thing, then in theory I wouldn't need Dropbox, right? And in theory it would be more secure than Dropbox, who will just give up your information at the drop of a hat.
Yeah. Tim also said that there's not going to be any new hardware until September. However, he did say that there are new markets they're going to get into. So,
Well, he didn't say that quite. He
No?
just said they were super excited about all the new things coming in September and beyond.
Well,
Which
yeah.
led everybody to believe, so nothing this summer? So my iPhone 5S isn't coming in June? Oh.
I love the invitations. Who is that? Is that guy? You got to name that guy. Who is that guy? Give that guy a name.
Man on the street.
Man on the
Sources
street.
familiar with the matter.
Sources familiar with the matter. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. There are rumors about the iWatch, which is supposed to be coming out. That would be interesting. I've been thinking about the iWatch, and I don't know if I've said this on the show. Would I wear one? Maybe. It depends on what it offers me. The other thing is the rumored television that's going to be coming out.
You know, I'm to a point now where I want the watch more than the TV.
I already have a TV. I don't need a new TV.
One of our teammates on Ragnar, oddly enough, had a Pebble watch, and the whole time I'm like, oh man.
The Pebble watch. So for all we know, there could be other markets that Apple is trying desperately to keep secret, because you know how stuff leaks.
This is true.
And I don't know. See, this is why I'm not in Apple's marketing department, because I can't come up with stuff. It's not in me to come up with new markets and things and come up with innovative new stuff. I'm an engineer. That's about it.
Yeah.
I'm not a marketing guy. WWDC, the Apple's worldwide developer conference, which has been going on for a long time, has sold out in 90 seconds. Unbelievable. Now, oddly enough, yesterday was also the day that that BlizzCon tickets went on sale, and that sold out in like 12 minutes or something ridiculous. It's like now all these things are getting harder and harder to come by. To buy
it's
tickets
just like,
for.
yeah, all these huge conventions and meetups that used to be, years ago, even 3 years ago, used to be easy to get tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe you'd have to log on same day and purchase tickets, but worst case scenario, it would take a day. But now it's almost virtually impossible.
Yeah.
If they're going to sell out in 2 minutes, what? Like
2 minutes. Well, with the explosion of iOS, this sort of thing has started happening ever since 2008, 2009. It wasn't like when I went years ago, like 10 years. I think it was 10 years. It'll be 10 years this year that I went to WWDC and tickets would be on sale for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I know. No, and like you were saying, BlizzCon, what, in 2009, they didn't sell out for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Same for Comic-Con. It just seems like this reoccurring theme with any huge meetup. And it doesn't even matter what genre or category or thing it's for. Is that a convention, a music festival? Shit, are they tickets that I can buy online? Well, then shit, I need to sit on the website and buy them.
I laugh because I found out yesterday that Walmart is doing this pre-sale for the Man of Steel movie. So you have to get online early in the morning, like 8 a.m. or something.
Walmart.com?
In line at Walmart, not online at Walmart.com.
I love standing in line.
You have to stand and they suggest that you get online like hours early. Like, that's great.
Of course
you get to stand in line hours and hours early to watch a 2-hour film that you can buy tickets for online right now at like some other company, and then you can just see it the next day. People must like standing in lines, because I sure don't. It's just fun.
Yeah, let's go stand in line.
So what are we expecting at WWDC? We're expecting iOS 7. iOS 7 and
developer preview that day, if not, a couple days from then. New. I mean, they have to at least hint at some new hardware stuff.
I would think that they would. If you're paying $1,600 for a ticket and flying your ass out there, I don't think that they're going to hint at anything. I think they're going to get up on stage and say, look, this is what you're going to develop for. And they'll show an iWatch, or they'll show a big television
and
or
this
something.
is what you're going to develop on your new Mac Pro.
Hate you. Because when I told the
chance,
story
right?
before, when I was there 10 years ago, they had a room where you can actually try your apps on their new hardware. So maybe they'll do something like that where they say, look, we're not going to actually give you something to take home, but if you want to try something on our new little hardware, this would be the place to do it. So I think Apple knows that people are paying a lot of money to go to this thing, and I don't think that they would tease anything. They would have to actually give people stuff. Not physically give, but like give them information. They'll say here's the resolution you're going to be developing for. Here's the new API. Well, they'll give you the new APIs. They have to.
So new developer previews, probably a new Xcode or an update to Xcode.
I would like to see an Xcode
t-shirt.
5. T-shirt. I would like to see an Xcode 5.
Yeah, I would too.
I really like Xcode 4 a lot.
I do too. I like it a lot. The more I use it, the more I like it. Even though we both bitched, I think, when they integrated all the individual apps into one under Xcode, interface builder and all of that. I like it.
I know. I would like to see Xcode be used for. I know this is going to be a blasphemous thing to say, but the Eclipse IDE for doing Android development blows. I would love to see Xcode be a little more versatile so that you can plug different modules into it and say, I want to do this for this, I want to do this for this.
I'm right there with you. If I could use Xcode as more of a general IDE instead of just like, oh, that's my iOS development app.
Yeah, I know Apple
Here's
doesn't
the app
care,
that
but
I actually code other things in.
Yeah.
If it was more of just a general IDE, that would be fantastic.
Volkswagen is teaming up with Apple for the iBeetle.
Yeah.
God, you want to talk about a product that never dies. The Beetle came out in what? 62?
Oh, no. 40.
Was it that old?
It was in the 40s.
Volkswagen was in the 40s, but I don't know if the Beetle was the Beetle.
Yes. The
Beetle was around in the 40s.
Volkswagen Beetle was commissioned by a certain Third Reich leader.
I knew
as
that.
the people's car.
Oh, I thought he just started the company, not the Beetle. Okay.
Well, both.
Both. Okay.
Volkswagen translate to people's car, and the Beetle was it. I mean, they made the Thing kind of around that time too as more of a war Jeep vehicle, but the Beetle was the car,
So there's going to be a dock for an iPhone 5, and similar to what I've been seeing lately, and this is something that I need to try, except the adapter is over $100, and I'm not about to drop that much on it. But if anybody knows anything about cars, there's a connector under your dash, and you can plug. I have the tool. It's this little thing. I bought it
and a
long
lot
time
of
ago.
newer BMWs and the Minis, and they come with a proprietary connectors, but they're usually like in the
they're like in the glove box or
glove
underneath
or under the dash.
Something
weird and hard to get to.
There's
There's
an app for the iPhone and the iPad that actually. Well, let me back up. There's a wireless adapter for that connector that you can buy on Amazon. That's $100, and then there's an app that connects to that runs on your iPhone and your iPad, and while you're driving your car, it'll tell you this is what your voltage is. It's what your dashboard tells you plus a whole bunch of other stuff,
right?
Like what your service light means or something,
which is good. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you're given a manual to your car. Nobody freaking reads that, and so then you're driving along and a light pops up on the dash with an icon that you've never seen before, and it doesn't really translate logically to anything. And so you're going to pull over and look through the manual as to what this means. Maybe it means my car's going to blow up in 5 minutes. Maybe it's okay and the gas cap is just off. But yeah, so this iBeetle is going to have more integration with an iOS app that'll tell you everything and anything you want to know about your car, as well as more seamless streaming for music and the stereo, Pandora, Spotify, things like that. You can stream wirelessly from your pocket or plug it into this kind of GPS dock grip thing that'll be in the middle on top of the dash. And in not so much Apple fashion, but there will be iBeetle Chrome identification all over the car. And I'm sure a price tag that is fitting of Apple products.
So interesting. It's not my thing though. Beetle is a little too small for me, but looks cool.
I wish it was another car. Like I almost, and this is gonna be weird, I wish it was smaller. The Beetle almost seems like too big a car, and it doesn't seem like, I don't know.
The iMiata?
I guess it, like, yeah, if the Apple computer, the Macintosh computer, I guess would be the closest equivalent to what the Volkswagen Beetle was supposed to be, the car for the everyman. Yeah. And that's what the Macintosh was the computer for everybody, that anybody who doesn't know a thing about computers could just sit down and start using it and just pick it up. And that's what the Volkswagen Beetle was supposed to be. So it makes sense that they would choose that to do this integration with and probably try to compete with Microsoft Sync with a little bit, but that's I kind of wish it was a mini.
I know. Apple nears an iRadio streaming deal with the big companies. This is interesting. I don't know exactly how this is going to be, and probably we won't until June, if not maybe a little further off. But
it makes sense that maybe they would talk about it at WWDC, but maybe not until the announcement in the fall.
I don't know, but I would love to have some more streaming on my phone. Now,
stream all the things.
Stream all the things. When I hear about iRadio, something like that, there are a couple of radio stations that I listen to here, and you need different apps to listen to some of them. Not all of them, but some of them share. Like there's iHeartRadio is one.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one. And WDHA out here, which is another classical radio station that I listen to, they have an app. So I have to use them. It would be nice if there was some way of not only streaming music, like Apple had their own radio, but if there was some way of streaming it in such a way where it was like a radio station, that would be nice. So
yeah, if they actually put the the Lala team and technology to work.
Well, yeah,
and then integrated like those internet radio stations that's under iTunes that are kind of almost archaic at this point, and an actual terrestrial radio, then you'd really have kind of the, I don't know, like the sandwich of of music. You have everything on the spectrum from your subscription type streaming stuff to terrestrial, whatever free stuff that you can get anywhere. So then you're really kind of just pleasing everybody in theory.
Yeah. So I'd like to see this whole thing done streaming. I would like all my music just streaming. The only time I really have anything on the phone now, which is funny because I still have my 160 gig iPod, which I don't use anymore, but it used to be that I had to carry around everything that I wanted to listen to at a moment's notice. Now everything is here, just stream it.
Yeah.
So I like to have a Pandora or a Spotify type stream. So that'll be good.
Yeah. Indeed.
I'm skipping this next one because I don't care.
Okay.
Intel is announcing that there's going to be an update for Thunderbolt in 2014, which is supposed to support 4K. Now, 4K, if anybody doesn't know, is a lot. It's a lot of K.
There's a lot of K.
4K is the new video system that people are working on now to bring. Everybody is just adopting HD, and now we've got a new HHD.
Yeah, forget about 3D. 3D is so old. We're all about 5K now.
Yeah, 4K is supposed to be out in consumers' hands. I've been hearing at the end of the year, and I don't know if that's actually going to happen. I think it may be a little too early. It's a wait because they were demoing it at CES, and they were saying, "Well, we're trying to get stuff into consumers' hands by the end of the year." Well, you know as well as I do because I saw the progression of high def television. I saw an HD TV in '92.
Yeah. 92. You can go see a 4K TV if you have a Sony Style store near you. They have one on display. it's a lot of money and it's
Yeah.
really impressive. But like when, 3D TVs were first coming out, it's like, well,
It's
yeah,
expensive. They're expensive.
yeah,
They're always expensive. I remember the first plasma HD TVs that came out. They were like 32 inches and they were $12,000. Now you can go down and you can buy a 46-inch TV, crappy one, but you can buy a 46-inch TV for like $400. So
yeah.
it depends on what you want to do. The HD TV that I saw at it was at the World's Fair in Seville, Spain in '92, and back then it was just like, wow, there's an HD TV. And the funny thing is that they sort of like shuffled people past it. It's like, yeah, it's an HD TV, move on. But it took how long for that to finally become reality? And so I don't know how long it's going to take for 4K, but I think they're going to move this along a lot. There are two things that are going to make 4K stumble. One is the media to play it on. There are people like me that still like physical media. And the thing about the reason why you need physical media, even though people poo-poo it, the reason why you need it is because of my second point is that we don't have the bandwidth to fully shove 4K down the pipe. We still don't have, like, for example, if you stream something over iTunes, or even if you buy something off of iTunes, you're not buying the full 40, 50 gigabyte version of a film, or sometimes even like a 20 gigabyte version that you would get off a Blu-ray. It's HD, but it's like a piss poor quality version of HD.
Yeah.
And
well, it's meant to stream.
It's meant to stream. So multiply that by 4 and it's going to be a while. So I don't think that we're even going to see a lot of people getting it for another 2 years. But
2 years, if not more. The price, is going to have to come down a lot. And like you said, I mean, people are just now getting used to HD being the standard. Over the air HD through their cable provider. People are just now realizing, like, well, okay, now I'm getting the pipes in from my cable provider or what have you, my cable box, and I'm buying Blu-ray regularly as opposed to just regular DVDs. So now I'm pretty much on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
And that took a long time. Obviously, that takes a long time to get everybody kind of switched over. And you're going to have to go through that same transition all over again for 4K, which is going to be like HHD,
Yeah, well, yeah, and then you got to have monitors, you got to have computer monitors that support it and things like that.
Yeah, you got to buy the hardware, and then the pipes are going to have to support it, and then everything else.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long time. And probably I would have to imagine, like you said, the media, and even more so the cable providers, the actual broadband, pipes into your house are going to be the last holdout. They're going to be the major holdup in this.
They are.
Moving forward.
Oh, and terrestrial stuff over the air too.
Yeah. So, no, that's not going to switch over until freaking it absolutely has to.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but there are 4K videos on YouTube.
Well,
they're very rare, but they do exist.
That sounds like a joke.
No, it's not. No, I saw a couple,
like
but
the YouTube, the internet video is known to be what? Awesome 4K quality?
No, it's 360 or 480 or whatever.
So then you have 4K shitty internet. Like, oh, good, I can see this guy getting kicked in the nuts in 4K. It was amazing. It was I was getting kicked in the nuts.
It was actually the one that I saw the most recently, and you will like this. It was a spoof of Khaleesi if she was a Disney princess. And they filmed the whole thing. It says, click here if you want to watch it in the original 4K. And then you click there. And you know how you have
an animation?
No. There's actually a girl dressed as Khaleesi. So, the gear, and you press the gear on a YouTube video and it brings up all the resolutions. Yeah. There was all the resolutions. There was 1080. And then above that, it said original. And then you click that, and then it was very nice.
And then your computer exploded.
I think my computer came. So we'll sort of move on from that. What's this about? Office really is coming to the Mac.
Surprise! Microsoft was just kidding, guys. They're going to come out with an Office for the Mac. Don't worry, you enterprise people. Mm-hmm. You 5 enterprise people who are using Macs and Office. It's okay. Yeah, they swore and stomped their feet that no more Office for Mac. It's just gonna come out for PCs, and maybe iOS, but no more Macs. And now, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
it'll
Okay.
come to
Well,
Macs, but not until next spring. You're gonna have to wait long and hard and think about what you did.
so this is not the first time that Microsoft has said nothing is coming out for the Mac, and then oh yeah, it's really coming for the Mac.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
surprised. Are you
Yeah.
surprised? No.
Well, I kind of am. I mean, I was super surprised that they were saying there's not going to be an Office 2013 for Mac, and I'm like, well, that's just dumb. But Microsoft is dumb, so I guess I'm not surprised. And then yeah, then now it looks like they're caving and they're going to bring one out. I mean, really, if they're making one for PC,
Yeah.
and even more so, they're making one for iOS. Like, you've got both ends of the spectrum, right? Mac sits in between those two when you're developing, really. Why not just stop, in Bakersfield on your way to Las Vegas? Come on.
Yeah, it does seem ridiculous to not support the Mac when it's not like the Mac was years ago where you had a very small user base. I mean, now you've got a lot more people using the Mac. Apple's making a ton of money. You know the users are out there, and you know the people want to use them. At the same time, they have to compete with Google. They have to.
Yeah.
Because,
A lot of those Mac users are running Windows. So come on, throw them a bone.
Yeah. Skip the next one too. Apple is giving. I saw today that people are getting their checks. Apple is offering $53 million settlements for those water damaged phones, which really weren't water damaged, and people are getting their checks for like $15 now. I didn't have this problem.
Oh no. Okay, so wait, that's a different
Oh, is that a different
lawsuit.
one?
The $15 check one
Yeah.
is for the bumpers for Antenna Gate. There was
okay.
another class action lawsuit,
another
which
one.
is almost more ridiculous than this one. That people, back when Antenna Gate was a thing, and they put out that app that said order your free bumper, through this app for the iPhone 4. People who didn't order that app or got their 4 after that app, because after a certain time it closed. So then there was another class action lawsuit for people who either missed the boat on the free bumpers or chose not to get a bumper, and they had to say, like, I declined the bumper.
What?
So then Apple paid out a large sum of money, and so people are getting paid out checks for $15
So
for that.
let me get this straight. Somebody tells you that there's a party, and you decide that you're not going to the party. Then you find out that the party, and then you find out that the party was awesome. So you sue the person that had the party, saying, "I should have been at the party."
I'm suing them for 2 drinks and a pocket full of Funyuns.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. I declined the bumper. I think we wound up getting one through somebody else. But I declined the bumper. I'm like, nah. Oh, you know why? Because I was using a belt clip at the time. But I declined the bumper, and I didn't feel like I needed
This bumper doesn't go with my belt clip.
It didn't fit either. So that's what that is. Okay, so Apple is offering a $53 million settlement to these.
So this is another class action lawsuit for people who had tried to get their iPhones replaced at the Genius Bar, and the Genius Bar turned them away, saying that they had water damage because there's actually a little indicator in the headphone jack it's like a little piece of tape, and if you shine a light in there, the tape is either the bluish color or it's red, and if it's red, that determines water damage, like water actually seeped inside of the phone. So
Let's see it. Maybe.
a lot of Genius Bars that saw this red tape were declining people because then that's a violation of the terms, and it's pretty much accidental damage. So they're not going to replace your phone. And so there's this class action lawsuit. And what's funny is defendant, I think, in this class action lawsuit, 3M, the company that makes tape, and oddly enough, made this sensor tape in the iPhone
Mm-hmm.
said that it could have been humidity that caused it to turn pink or red and not actual water damage. So 3M actually testified on behalf of the people against Apple. And so Apple settled for $53 million on this lawsuit, which originated in 2010. And they're just now starting to pay out those people roughly about $15. And I think they're paying them back in iTunes gift cards.
See, this is an interesting one because there's no foolproof way of knowing. Like it said, it could have been humidity, but then now you got people that can game the system and.
Well, there's always going to be somebody that's like, well, yeah, there's that big book of terms and conditions, but I didn't read it, and I'm going to sue you anyway. Like that. I feel like that's always going to be a thing. Clearly, from just these two class action lawsuits that we just mentioned, they're brought to the court by and for people who don't friggin' read the terms and conditions and don't know what they're getting into before they get in. And then they're going to complain, oh, it's jacuzzi and now it's hot and I thought it was a pool. I thought it was a little pool that was cool and I got in and it's hot. And now I want to sue someone because I'm stupid and I didn't read the big sign right there that says in big letters jacuzzi and not pool.
You're gonna have to name your characters.
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
I don't know. Joe, I can't read.
Fiddle
Joe
Mix-
illiterate.
Joe illiterate. All right, let's go to rapid fire. Oh no, that's news. Whoops.
Rapid fire is like smaller news,
It
right?
is. It's like smaller news. That's why it's faster and
Yeah.
T-Mobile is offering iPhone trade-in program.
Yay! Oh wait, I have an iPhone.
Customers can trade their 4 or 4S for an iPhone 5 or get credit towards a bill. The iPhone 5 has gone on sale. This was on April 12th. The iPhone 5 went on sale, and you don't have to do the whole contract dance.
No, you just have to cough up the whole $650 for an iPhone,
Well,
and then you can do whatever you want with it.
I see. That's the thing is, I think that you should have the choice on some of these carriers. Do it like they do in Europe. It's like don't stick people with a 2-year contract because this has happened to me. A phone comes out in a year. This is long before the iPhone came out, but like a better phone comes out in a year, and then you're screwed. You know, it's another thing that they used to do. They used to, if I got a new phone, let's say it ran from October to the 2nd October, right? And something came out in August. They would extend my contract, like 2 months or something.
Just pile it on.
Pile it on. They don't do that anymore.
No. Well, they charge you like half the upgrade fee in the front now. So
Yeah.
it's like instead of getting the full subsidized price, if you're only a year into your 2-year, then you only get half the subsidy. So the phone's more expensive up front, which I'm okay with. And that's what I've been doing since 2007.
Yeah. There was code found in Mac OS X 8.4 beta, which is suggesting that the newer Macs, maybe the Mac Pro, is going to have built-in Gigabit Wi-Fi. This is 802.11ac.
Which is interesting since 802.11ac is not even a solid spec yet. It hasn't been ratified. It's not concrete. But already Apple's planning to go that direction, which is, not to say that Apple's not always looking forward and, planning for the future, but this kind of just goes to show you can kind of expect that.
Well, didn't Apple support 802.11n when it wasn't fully supported yet? Didn't N take forever to get ratified?
It did. I don't remember if Apple had it before it was ratified. I remember they had it as soon as it was.
Maybe I'm thinking of Linksys.
I mean, from the time it was ratified, like literally from the time it was ratified on, Apple was one of the first to have it. in their machines on the airport card, but I don't remember if they had it prior to that, like
Yeah,
in a beta
somebody
version.
did. Somebody did. I remember.
I wouldn't be surprised if they
Yeah,
did.
well, Linksys came out with 802.11n devices.
Yeah.
The wireless routers, but I vaguely remember this is a long time ago. It's so long ago the CompUSA was
I
still
know,
around in my
N
area.
came out a long time ago.
N came around a long time ago, so it's possible that they're doing the same thing with AC. What's with this cute little iPad mini controller gamepad?
So this company I've never heard of, called Techdy, Techdy, has come out with this Game D iPad mini controller gamepad, which it's literally like kind of a NES, cross an AB button gamepad, and it hooks onto the landscape mode of an iPad mini. So I mean, it's not terribly big. You're not with your full iPad, and it's not with a tiny iPhone, but it's perfect, and it kind of sits in your hands, and it's so fucking cute. I love it.
And Twitter for Mac has finally been updated, despite the fact that Twitter said, nope, not going to do it. 2 years has gone by, and Twitter finally updated it. And I would guess the reason why is because nobody's using the damn web interface.
No, I have almost never, probably 1% or less of the entire time I've been using Twitter, used the web interface. And it blows me away anytime people, like the most tech savvy tech pundits that use the web interface. And I'm like, really? Like, I'm always either using a web app or what is it, TweetDeck, when it was like an Air app at the very worst, or a built-in app. But I don't know. It just is weird to me if people actually use their website.
Just say no to the web app. All right, speaking of apps, let's go to apps before we go. The one that I picked this week is called Stellarium. I found it because I was looking for an astronomy program, and for years I was a supporter of Voyager and Starry Night. And when I went to look at how much they would be to upgrade, Voyager now is like $300 or some stupid money, $200-300. And
for an iPhone app?
No. This is for a desktop app, because the desktop apps are more versatile. And the current version of Starry Night Pro is like $120, and it was not $120. Yeah, and I just went no. So it turns out that I have an old version of Starry Night Pro, but it doesn't work on the Mac, but it does work on Windows. It's a hybrid disk, so I installed it, and it was crappy because it was written for like Windows 95 or something. So I was looking for a free version, and Stellarium is a pretty damn impressive free astronomy program, and it's open source. You download it from SourceForge, and you can download the binaries and everything. And it's very, very good, and
nice.
It has some. It's always with free software, with open source software. There's some UI issues that I've got with it, but it's damn nice for a free piece of software. So that's
so. Where do people get this?
I don't know. By the way, while I'm looking for it, it runs on Mac, Windows, and Linux. So you can get stellarium.org, Stellarium.org. So, yeah, there you go.
Right on. Well, my app is for iOS. It's called Alien Blue. It is, and I've downloaded quite a few lately. It is the best damn Reddit app I have found for iOS.
Really?
Yes. It's got a beautiful interface. It's well designed. It covers everything on Reddit, every subreddit. Links and upvotes and downvotes, everything you could want from the full Reddit experience in a really well-designed, beautiful iOS app. And it's free.
Nice. What makes it better than like using the web? It's just navigation.
It's an app.
It's an app, yeah. But no,
I'm
using
the
same way.
the full web on my phone. Like if I'm tired and in bed and I don't want to like go get my computer or what have you, it's a much better iPhone experience. And like I said, it's a beautiful app that just is made for obviously iOS. So it's not like I'm pinching and zooming and scrolling a whole lot. It's just made for that platform, and it's perfect and it's free. And what more could you want?
Cool. All right, we're done.
Yay!
How does everybody get a hold of you, Casey Coughlin? Casey Queso,
I
who just
am
knocked
at
over a lamp.
Casey Queso, the Casey not the cheese on Twitter, KACEYKASO. I'm Casey Mac on the Facebooks and Casey Coughlin on G+.
I am Star Mike on Twitter. You can email us, theinfiniteloopshow@gmail.com. You can also find us at theinfiniteloopshow.com. That's going to be it for this week, and we'll see you all next week. Adios.
I like Macs.